Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Good day to everyone around the world, and good morning to co-hosts Erica Gratton and Kyle Ballard. Say good morning, folks.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, excellent. So lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff. Today we've been scratching our heads and trying to figure out what a great topic would be for this show, and we were very fortunate to get a great interview lined up with Richard Fortus, new guitarist for Guns N' Roses. And fascinating fella. He's got a tremendous career behind him and a tremendous career ahead of him. And the reason we bring Richard on is because he too is a runner. And we thought it would be a fascinating interview to have someone that has basically lived his life on the road as a rock and roll star and how he maintains his fitness. And as I understand it, yet to be discovered, but I believe that Richard is an avid runner. And it was interesting a moment ago before we got on the air, Erica brought to my attention that my name being Richard and interviewing a Richard could be a little confusing, so please, people, bear with us. I think that, I don't know how we're going to handle it. Erica, if you come up with a really good idea between now and when we get him on the phone.
Right.
Yeah,
maybe Richard has a stage name we can go by.
Yeah. Well, we'll put it to him, and we'll see what he thinks. He may want to know him as Mr. Fortus. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But, looking back on his career, and I've done a tremendous amount of research on Mr. Fortus over the past week, and he's been around. I mean, this guy has played guitar with everybody. He's toured with Rihanna. He's toured with Julio Iglesias. He's been a staple in what was the Psychedelic Furs. He was with a band that evolved from that he founded with Richard Butler, who was at Psychedelic Furs, and they did a group called Love Spit Love. Now he's landed with Guns N' Roses. And, here's a guy that's been classically trained. He played the violin, he played the cello, and he could do just about anything with strings.
Sure sounds like it.
I don't know if you guys were aware of all of that.
No, see, and I didn't even know that he was an avid runner, but, we'll ask him all these questions, but, how long are these shows that these guys get up there and they entertain us for? You got to have that stamina. It's got to come from somewhere, right?
Well, that's very true. And I have worked with, I have to say that I have worked with rock stars in the past. I actually did some work with Alicia Moore, who is more famously referred to as Pink, and did a show too on her some years back when we had her on a fitness regimen. And these people, they have a tough lifestyle. I mean, I got to be honest with you. A little disclosure. I mean, I had a pretty rock and roll growing up in
it's in your blood.
My remember the pictures that come up that said proof of hair? We actually had some links there.
You were rocking the long hair, huh, Richard?
Yeah, just trying to get through the day. In back then, the partying all night long, and I just couldn't even imagine to be dedicated to that type of a lifestyle where you're in it. You don't really have much option but to try to survive it, and then have to be a genius on stage the following day. And day after day after day after day. It's just
you're a performer. This is what you get paid to do, is to entertain. So if you're rough on your body and they've got long days and keep odd hours to begin with just because of the lifestyle, being in a different city every day, although I think Richard's going to let us in on his next gig, having a residency somewhere where you're there for multiple nights in one city, but typically you're in and out. you roll in one day, you set up camp, you put on a show, and you roll up and you're off to the next city. I mean, it's a tough lifestyle.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. And I've tried to speculate. You alluded to the residency tour coming up. They're, let's just go ahead and share it. They're planning to hole up at the Hard Rock and basically take over the joint in Las Vegas, and they're going to be there for basically a month. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have 12 performances slated over the course of that month. And I got to tell you, if I don't get out of Las Vegas after 3 days, I'm going to need therapy. It's just,
right. Well, which is probably a good reason why he runs. keep himself centered. It's
and it's funny because I actually worked in Las Vegas doing testing as a contractor for the Las Vegas athletic clubs, and we would get up early and show up for our gigs after a rough night at the casinos, and it's an odd lifestyle. The people that live in Las Vegas, it just everybody's up all night and sleep all day kind of thing, and
exactly.
And then I guess pretty much that is the case with the visitors anyway. I assume there's other people that have a lifestyle where they work during the day and they really don't visit the casinos. But
you think people do 9 to 5 in Vegas? You think?
I don't know. I guess if you go to a restaurant, that's kind of how it works, right?
Well, they're usually open 24/7.
The whole concept here is rock star runner. And hopefully we're going to get a couple more of these cats to come on and speak with us, because it's interesting. You got people that get up in the morning after a really, healthy lifestyle to begin with, and they're habitual about the way they roll out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. They hit the trails or road and put in their run before they start their work day, and it's a very traditional process for us. And I just thought it was such an interesting view to have someone that is basically a globetrotter all over the world. I mean, just the jet lag alone between some of these concert dates has to be just brutal. It just has to be brutal. And I'd imagine as we season, these guys aren't kids anymore. As we season, you settle into your skin, so to speak, and you start to find ways to, try to mitigate some of the stresses that are associated with that kind of work. And clearly, going for a cleansing run in the morning or in the afternoon or whenever that is they get a chance to do it has to be almost spiritual for them.
I would agree. And, going back to when you were talking about the folks that, do the 9 to 5 thing, it's tough enough to stick to a routine and to be disciplined enough when we were saying, you're traveling to usually a different city, every night on a bus, no less, and to get up and throw those sneaks on and head out the bus, it takes some discipline, to stick to it. And, what's that inside Richard that's driving him to do that? Is it the clearing of the headspace? Does he find new music out there on the trail? Is he inspired? Does it, what is it?
It's something that, since you brought that up about music on the trail, I was, just yesterday while I was pondering this interview, I'm curious to ask him, and if I don't ask, I hope you remember to ask him yourself.
Okay.
I want to know what's on his playlist and his iPod, and if in fact what he listens to when he runs. Or if he listens to music at all.
Right.
It's an interesting thought. I'm very curious to know.
You're right. I mean, it's being that his profession is to make music. I'm certain that he is inspired by musicians in the past and present. But like you said, does he maybe need to clear his head, so to speak, to be inspired? So maybe he doesn't. Maybe he runs with his thoughts and no music.
Right.
So yeah, interesting. Good.
I'm no rock star, and that's clearly what I do. I don't listen to music when I run. Unfortunately for people around me, I may try to create some music, and destroy somebody else's music trying to sing it while I'm running. And, but I've always been one to shy away from, the music while I'm running. Kyle, do you listen to music when you run?
I do. I'm a slow jam fan.
A slow jam?
Yeah, kind of different, but I crank it up and kind of find a groove with it. And I'll do the same thing. I'll sing out loud, and if you're running next to me, hopefully you have headphones in. Otherwise, it's not going to be pretty.
Running and singing.
How about you, Erica? Do you listen to music when you run?
I do not. And as you know, and our audience, if they've tuned in long enough, they know that I tend to hit the trails and not the road. So I, out of my own preference, like to be aware of my surroundings, and you plug your ears with some tunes. As much as it may help pass the miles and maybe get you in a groove, you're kind of closing yourself off, to your surroundings, and I like to be more aware. So no, I unplug when I go out. I do not listen to music. No. But, I know people that, on our team, Richard, when we go out on some of our longer runs, the first thing some of our team members do is throw those earplugs, or not earplugs.
I'm not into it, especially with mountain lions that we hear about all the time. I want to know that's coming. I don't want to be surprised while I'm singing along and then just get my leg bit off by some creature. Not going to do
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Or the
looks
shake that.
like we've got Richard on in the green room right now.
Awesome.
And there we go. So let me go ahead and bring him on.
Hello.
Good morning, Richard Fortus. How are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very
Good morning,
well.
Richard.
I want to thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us a little bit this morning. And I'd imagine you're in St. Louis now?
I am.
And did you run this morning?
I haven't run yet. It's raining, so I'm waiting it out because I can.
Bummer.
So, Richard, I don't know if you've been listening behind the scenes, but we've been kind of bantering about and just drawing conclusions about, essentially the lifestyle that you've led for the past, oh my God, quite a long time.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I boned up. I did a tremendous amount of research on you. I feel like we went to school together.
Okay.
Seriously, and I mean, I went back and looked at all the things that you've done and who you've done them with, who you performed with, and just really an amazing career. And my first notion is, and I have to tell you, just we've never met, so just let me just kind of give you some insight. I will be 60 years old at the end of this year, and I was raised in the Midwest as well, and I came up during the Vietnam era. I'm a veteran, and I'm an old rocker. I've always, if someone was to ask me what type of genre of music I'm into, I would have to say I'm a rock and roll guy, classic rock.
Mm-hmm.
And so looking back at some of the stuff you did, it's pretty cool. And but I can't imagine how in the hell you can get through a tour and maintain sanity and try to keep your energy up for this stuff.
Yeah, we play very long shows as well.
And so
we play about 3 hours a night.
Yeah.
With no break.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And so you just got back from Europe, right?
Yeah. We were there for 3 months.
Wow.
And where did you play?
Yeah. Where didn't we play? We played all over Europe. Let's see if I can pull up an itinerary here. Yeah, it was a pretty grueling run.
No pun intended.
What's that?
I said no pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, do you listen to music when you run?
We were just having this discussion. I do not, but I hit the trails. I'm not a roadie, so we were saying before you joined us, Richard, that I like to be aware of my surroundings. We were joking about mountain lions and other wild.
I just left Southern California. I lived in Los Angeles for the last 5 years, and running on trails I couldn't run with music in either. And to be honest, even in New York City, I don't run with music in. But here I can. I don't know. It really just varies for me.
We're curious about your playlist when you're running.
Playlist? I'm constantly looking for new inspiration, so I'm always listening to new stuff.
So when you say new stuff,
like bands that don't even exist yet. I'm always trying to find something new and exciting.
Right.
So I listen to more alternative type of college radio, I guess. But it really, I also listen to classic rock as well.
Right.
I'm pretty all over the board.
Given the opportunity to make a decision aside from the environment, do you choose to run with music or do you choose not to?
It really depends. It really depends on the day, really, and how much I want to focus. Because I can't. If my favorite thing is to run to find new routes when I'm in a new city, or do familiar routes when I'm in. There's some of my favorite runs. I've got my favorite runs all over the world, and
that is so cool.
It is. It's awesome, and it's the best way to see a city. And when everybody else is in the band is sleeping, I usually get up early and run. And it's just a great way to familiarize yourself with the environment where you are.
Yeah, so I agree.
I see that come the end of October, you guys are going to take up residency at the Hard Rock.
Yeah. I'm not really looking forward to running in
the desert,
Las Vegas.
Yeah, the same. Being in the same spot the entire time.
Yeah, I can't even. I tell you, the way I roll is I have a tendency to try to wrap my head around the people that I get involved with. And interesting thing about my business is because I have people that come to me from all walks of life for diagnostics. I do VO2 max testing, and I work with athletes. And so usually if somebody connects with me and I don't know who they are, I Google them to find out who they are, so I know who I'm dealing with. And for example, as a matter of fact, tomorrow night there's a middleweight championship fight. Sergio Martinez is fighting with Cesar Chavez's son, Julio Cesar Chavez's son, and Sergio is one of my clients. And so I get these people who will come into my world, and they're out of my world really, really quickly. And I guess what I'm getting at is just the nature of going into a foreign element and taking up residence for a while, and just kind of being locked down. And I don't know. Are you guys going to stay at the Hard Rock, or do you get out of there, or how does that work?
I don't know yet. I mean, I think we're booked to stay there, but that's going to be. I can't imagine how that's going to be for 6 weeks. I mean, I have a really hard time being in that hotel for 3 days. So
yeah, that was
we just played last New Year's there, and we played 2 shows, and we were there for about a week, and that was about as much as I could take. Yeah. And I've been there to do records as well, at the Palms Hotel. And, I don't know, there's something about Vegas. I mean, when I was younger, I always felt lucky to leave there alive,
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, being older, I'm lucky to get out of there alive.
Yeah. Yeah, things have mellowed for me a bit in that way.
I've had some really good times at the Hard Rock. Actually, it's one of my favorite hotels because it's so quaint. It's so small, and it's hard to get lost in it. Where I go to Caesar's Palace and I have anxiety after a while because I can't figure out how to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. No, it is a fun hotel, and it's always a party. And every time we play there, what's that?
I said, that can get old.
It can.
It's always, sometimes you just want to tune out and shut down.
Yeah, there is a nice gym there though, so that's good.
So do you? Let's talk about the running thing a little bit. Clearly that's what we're supposed to be about, and I got off path here a little bit. But so, what inspired you to get into running? Have you always been a runner, or did you just take it up?
No, I started. I guess it's been about 20 years I've been running. And I've done, 4 marathons? And
which one?
Which ones did I do? I did Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago, and New York.
All right. What's your best time?
3:02.
Wow.
Come on, dude.
Wow, nice. How old were you when you did that?
I guess that would have been New York that was Kansas City. Let me see, that would have been 96.
Okay.
Yeah, about 96.
Wow. Well, that's a pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Very, very. So, may I ask, Richard? So, is that a good distance for you? Do you like? Is that a comfy? Are you more of a? I mean, clearly you're fast. So.
Yeah, I run at a good pace, but I mean that's. Is it? I mean, I don't do that. I don't normally do that type of distance. My runs, like on the road, go between 10 to 25K.
Okay.
And yeah, that's generally where I sit. I don't do much now, unless I'm not racing anymore, so I'm not.
Right.
It's more for fun. I still like to keep a good pace though. It's just it's a comfortable. I'm more comfortable. It's harder for me to run slowly.
Yeah.
Like I'll run with other people, and sometimes it can be very fatiguing just because it's so, I don't know, it's difficult to run at a slower pace for me.
Run slower.
Yeah.
Richard, do you wear a heart rate monitor when you train?
I don't. Should I?
Well, if you knew me better, that's kind of my shtick. I'm really, because I do diagnostics, I do VO2 max testing. What I'm all about is encouraging people to learn about the cause and effect relationship with the work they're doing, and how to improve their endurance rather than intuitively, going out and just saying, oh, that run felt good or that run didn't feel so good, knowing specifically what they're doing before they head out so that they could wrap their head around a program. That's really, the meat and potatoes of what I'm all about. So I was just curious, and if I had a guess, I would have thought probably not. But it's an interesting thing to do. Rather than, like you suggested, I don't like to run slow. And, you found a niche. You kind of dropped into a distance where you could travel and get your yayas out and feel like you're accomplished in your effort, and then you get on with your day. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, when for example, that 309, if I were you, and I realize that was a few years back, but you're still a fairly young fella, and given the nature of your business, I would think that there's a chance to break 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, the stamina you must have, Richard, to be on stage for 3 hours, I mean, that was what I was thinking, the relationship between your aerobic base from being a runner and how that parlays into 3 hours on stage,
Right.
I think there's a huge...
Pretty wrung out after a performance?
I'm sorry?
Are you pretty wrung out after a performance? Whooped?
No, not necessarily. I mean, it's fatiguing, but it's, there's also the adrenaline involved, and so I'm not that fatigued afterwards.
Right.
And I mean, running to me is it's more of a way to ground myself. I feel if I don't run for a few days, I start to feel ungrounded. I start to feel
imbalanced.
Yeah, and so it's a way of centering, and it's a form of meditation.
Yeah,
right.
Totally get it.
Do any of the other guys you perform with, do they run as well?
Not anymore. Dizzy, our keyboard player, used to run with me and actually was doing really well and was able to, he would hang in there for, like my 10K runs. He'd be right with me. Yeah, he was doing great. And then he just fell off, and he hasn't for the last few years. So I'm generally by myself. Sometimes, there are Sebastian Bach, when he was touring with us, he likes to run. But again, even though he's very tall, he runs at a very much different rate than I do, a pace. So it's a little bit tough, but I love having company to run with.
Do you
whenever I can find it?
You probably gathered that our show is entitled Natural Running Network Live. We have an organization referred to as the Natural Running Network, where we aspire to train people to run off of their midfoot as opposed to heel striking.
Right. I've read about it, but I've never gotten into it. But
yeah. So you're fairly
intriguing.
traditional in your approach to running.
I am.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I guess I'm a bit of a Luddite when it comes to running. I used to be.
Well, but I tell you what, it's like you kind of represent the masses. I mean, most of the runners in a field of marathoners are heel striking, and it's just our thing has been we're showing people how to get into a better place, so that they minimize the amount of injuries they're facing. And it sounds to me like I've never met you, so I don't know what your build is other than through pictures. But you look to be slight of build, so you probably don't carry enough weight to really cause too much grief on your joints. Do you experience any problems when you run?
No, I've been really fortunate. Besides, but I'm pretty diligent with stretching afterwards.
Right.
But yeah, no, I haven't really had many injuries.
So the way it rolls out is that if you look at a field of marathoners, about 70% of the field are typically dealing with injuries from their running, and most of it is attributed to the biomechanics, the way they run. And so our focus has been and is to educate people and show them a better way of running so that they minimize the injuries that they're facing. So it was curious to me whether you being more than what I assumed you were with respect to your running, whether you did any research into it or thought about changing the way you run or the shoes that you wear when you run.
Yeah, I have considered it, and I've looked at the transition time, and it's something I'd definitely be interested in checking out. You guys
I'll
gonna?
tell you what,
I
know that Erica had mentioned it to you.
Yeah.
But when you get into our neighborhood, if you're curious, I'd be more than happy to meet with you at my place, and we'll do a video analysis of the way you're moving. And what I do is I shoot video of you running on a treadmill from the front, from the side, from the back, and we put it up on a big screen. And I have some interesting software that lets me analyze the way you're moving, where your efficiencies are, where your deficiencies are, and then we do a VO2 test and find out what your lung capacity and your vital oxygen uptake looks like. And then I can show you where your potential for better performance resides. And we'll do that for you for grins for coming on the show with us.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, but it's fun. Even if you're just a recreational runner, and I don't mean you specifically. I mean, anyone in the listening audience. It's it's neat information to possess about yourself. Biomechanically, like Richard said, and physiology. What's going on inside with the oxygen and it's cool stuff. Cool stuff.
Right on.
Yeah, for example, we've got a guy, 2:45 marathoner. When I met him, and we did the test on him, and we identified that when he's running, he runs typically. He ran Boston this year, and Boston was terrible this year. But he tries to run and hold his heart rate around 160 plus beats per minute, and it's just a little too hot for him in respect to the amount of work he's doing. And we showed him that where he's really efficient is about 140 beats per minute. And he clearly felt that, and he was right, that for him to run at that heart rate would be too slow. And through the training we afforded him, it took about 3 weeks. And what we did is we had him go to a track, and after we tested him, we had him run a mile on the track without letting his heart rate get over 140 beats per minute. And it took him 8 minutes and 30 seconds to run the mile. And after training the way we showed him to train, 3 weeks out, he did the same test again, and he dropped his time to 6:30 for the same heart rate.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big deal. And what you have to look at, and incidentally, to take it a step further, I got up on a bicycle and rode along next to him while he was running. It was a 2-hour run, and I followed him for about 5 miles. And during the 5 miles, at 140 beats per minute, he held a 6:45 pace, which was basically, like walking for him as far as the effort goes. And
wow.
He made the comment that typically he would be able to get his heart rate up as high as 180 beats per minute when he worked out, and now he has a hard time getting it over 160. And the point of the matter is that 180 beats per minute creates way, way too many calories being exhausted. And at 160, he saves a lot of those calories or energy lost, and he was producing the same time. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts behind getting tested and why we bother to do that. So I think it would be fun for you to give it a shot and just see what you learn from it.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
So tell us, we kind of alluded to the tour. I also see you guys are going to go to Mountain View. Is that still on?
That's the bridge benefit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
And that's
Very
with
cool.
Neil Young?
Yeah, and Flaming Lips and Jack White.
Oh, right on.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just saw the Flaming Lips here, and they're such a fun band. It's like one of my favorite bands.
Cool.
That's cool when you get to, off running for a minute, but I bet when you, do a one-off like that, when you're actually a fan of somebody you might be playing with, sharing the stage with,
Well, that's a great thing about doing what we're doing this summer is when you're in Europe, you do all the festivals, and it's a great way. You get to see loads of bands that you want to see, and and plus you see old friends, everybody hangs out, so it's always a good time.
Oh, I bet. Now, okay, so back to the running, because you started to say, you were pulling up an itinerary from over the summer. If you could, it might not, maybe it's easier said than done, but, okay, so you're over there for a few months. Like, what is one takeaway moment, like running moment? Like, what's a great city to run in? Did you hit the trails in one, when you were in, I don't know, some country that you just, a standout moment? Like, is there one city to run in, or?
There's so many, Paris along the Seine. London, you can do all 4 parks because we always seem to stay on the park. So that's one of my favorites. Great running city. Well, it's just great to be able to do all because there's 4 parks that connect.
Okay.
Which is St. James, Green Park, Kensington Gardens, and forgetting the other one. But they also connect. So that's a lot of fun, and plus you can do the river, the Thames there. So, what's another great one? There's some great runs in like St. Petersburg. Prague is great. You just have to find the right runs. It's funny because I played some cities in the south of France.
Okay.
That I was there last year when I was on tour with Thin Lizzy last summer, and this summer we hit a lot of the same cities, and I ended up doing the same runs, from different,
different tours.
It's one of those moments where you're like, wow, this all looks so familiar. Wait a second, I've been here before, and I'll remember the run, but I won't remember the name of the city. So it's great. I love those moments. Yeah, but I went on some fantastic runs in France. With just trails through the woods and Germany as well. Yeah, I'm so blessed in that I get to wake up in a new city and go for a completely new run, and that's sort of what I look forward to, and I sort of plan my day around what my run's going to be, and I map it out, and I know where I'm going to go, and that's my plan. And then if I'm there for a few days, I'll hit different runs. It's just such a great way to see new places. It's the best way. You're essentially like a local. You no longer are, simply a visitor. Would never say tourist, but yeah, you get to know that city intimately. Like you wouldn't if you were just rolling out of the bus into the venue. I mean, for goodness sakes, I'm sure there are days that you roll into a city and you roll off the bus into the venue. You don't even know what the heck city you're in. I mean, you look at the day sheet and you go, oh, right, this is where I am. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find when you're in Europe, you get a little bit more, what is the word I'm looking for? That you kind of get a little more freedom to mill about without anybody recognizing you or giving you any grief when you're trying to have some peace?
It really depends on where you are.
Yeah.
The big cities are always easy for that,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not that big of an issue. In South America was different. I would have, because we'd have to take security, and so I'd have guys on scooters following me with guns. I was just trying to go for a run, and but I also did. There's one funny moment. I was running on the beach. I think it might have been like was it Ecuador, or I forget where it was. I can picture it, but I was running along a road. There's a beach on one side and like a highway on the other. And these guys, the security, were in a van following me. And a car came and pulled in front of me and pulled off the road. And this woman gets out, and the guys behind me pull up, and they all jump out with their guns drawn. And this woman standing there with a piece of paper and a pen. It was hilarious. But that's just a little, I don't know. I find
they kidnap people over there. That's the deal, right?
I guess so. I guess that's the reason. But
oh my gosh, it's kind of a
they
buzzkill.
attack people with pens.
You don't really get a runner's high when you're followed by armed men in a van, do you?
You get kind of a chase.
I don't know. You sort of block it out, and it also, it keeps your pace up because you know.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're running with somebody.
There you go. It's
you
your
should have
vehicle.
Your hydration for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What did you tour Colombia?
Yes.
Now I'd imagine there you'd need some security.
Yeah.
Colombia's not that bad. It's not like Venezuela. That was pretty dodgy. There's been some hairy ones. I did a great run in Panama through this jungle path, and that was fantastic. Just seeing sloths and toucans and tapirs, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, and monkeys. It was a lot of fun, except for the mosquitoes. But
yeah.
Been to Costa Rica?
Yep.
Have you seen the crocodiles in Costa Rica?
No.
Yeah, you don't want to meet one of those while you're running.
No, I didn't.
They look like submarines. So big.
Oh my
wow.
God.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was there once, and I just couldn't believe people were pulling over the side of the road to look at these crocodiles, and they were within, they run pretty fast, and it was close enough where you were actually in danger. I mean, I'm talking about these things, honest to God, no exaggeration, were probably 15 feet long.
Right.
And probably, 3.5 to 4 feet wide across their back. Just huge, huge things. And so I don't know why I got off on that, but I just thought about running with animals. It just. But you had a place in Woodland Hills for a while, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And so.
And a friend of mine actually also lives there, and he's an ultramarathoner. And he plays guitar with the Cult.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael.
Mike the Serb.
Yeah, exactly. He's a cyclist, and I ride sometimes, and we share some miles. That's too
guy,
funny.
Yeah, he's an animal.
Right?
he's really intense with it. Yeah,
he's
not
my neighbor. Not an ounce of fat on him. He is lean.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. He's super lean.
Yeah.
Now, so
but we did a bunch of shows with them this summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were supporting us for a few shows.
Wow.
Very cool. Yeah, and they were just up at the Majestic Theater in Ventura, not too long ago.
Yeah, Ian. I've worked with Ian before, the singer, and he's a great guy. And they're all good guys. But yeah, Mike's a real serious runner.
Did you and Mike get to hit the trails when you were in Europe?
We didn't. We kept trying. It was like every day we were trying to connect, and never were able to. And when I was in Woodland Hills, he said he used to see me running all the time, but I guess at that point he knew me and I didn't know him. But
it's hard.
Yeah, and our kids went to school together.
Oh, how funny! Small world, right?
Yeah.
It's so hot in Woodland Hills. Where did you run there? I actually have a client in Woodland Hills, and he shows me the temperatures of the workouts, and it's just crazy how hot it gets there.
It's pretty ridiculous, but at least there, I always had a much easier time running there than I do in St. Louis. In St. Louis, it gets so humid.
Yeah.
But I'd run up Canoga to the top, and then there's
There's a trail.
It just keeps going up, and then you can come. I had this. There were all the coyote trails up there, and that's what I used to do. Yeah. And I loved running those hills. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Now you, do I dare ask this? You take hydration with you? You good about taking care of yourself out there?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm really bad with that, to be honest. I never have had hydration issues. Like I've never. I guess I wait until I get back and drink. But I don't like to carry water. I know that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
unless I'm going on a really long run, I don't.
Right.
Think about enforcing that. With my runners, I require that they carry hydration, not just water, but carry, electrolyte replacement with a little bit of,
right.
Like our favorite product is Accelerate, which has a little bit of protein in it. And
right.
You get really good. And back in the day when I was younger, I used to make jokes about running to the beach and getting a mouthful of sand and coming back and spitting it out on the carpet. Just really a camel about the run. And I come to find out, as I got smarter and older, that if I took a little something with me, I always fared far better.
Huh.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I imagine what you could do to your time. And I know you're not competitively racing these days, but imagine, do a little experiment one time.
I'm thinking
yeah. What'd you say?
That 9 minutes is bugging the shit out of me.
No. 2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes. All right. Well, even worse. That's worse.
Yeah, I know.
You need to have like a 2:59.
You and me both.
2:59:02. Right?
Yeah. Well, maybe it's funny you mentioned Boston before, and I think I had signed up for Boston. I'd qualified 3 times and got my place and sent my money in and could never do it because I'd be on tour.
Yeah.
That's happened to me so many times. It's happened to me like 3 times in New York where I couldn't do it.
Well, see, and that's what I was going to suggest and why I actually didn't put it out there, and that is, find that destination race, and how about you do this? Okay, so you've got your itinerary for, the next couple of months or whatever. Why don't you find that destination race in, I don't know. I know you're usually in and out, but I don't know.
Yeah, the other thing is that the last thing I want to do when on my time off, when I'm home with my family, is to leave.
Yeah.
Even if it's, I don't know. It's hard to justify that.
You have a daughter, right, Richard?
What's up?
You have a daughter, right?
I have 2 daughters.
2 daughters.
Oh.
I read somewhere that one of your daughters is extremely intelligent.
Wow, yeah, she is. Where'd you read that, man? You really did dig up some stuff.
No, I picked something that suggested that she's like in the top 97 percentile.
99.8.
Yeah.
In the country.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And how old is she now?
Genius. She is 6.5.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And how old is your other daughter?
My other one is 4, and she'll be 5 in January.
Your wife out to run?
No, she's not into it.
Yeah.
Well, we all have to have our own things.
Yeah, she's more of a yoga person. I wish that she was.
All you have to do, I'll just give you a tip. All you have to do to get your wife to run is stop running.
That's how it works.
That's the way it works. And then after she gets really excited about running, you could start running again. You'll end up running together.
Huh. Okay.
That's the way it works.
Sounds like reverse psychology.
Yeah, it sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Runners for so long now.
Right, doesn't he, Richard? Sounds like he does.
Sorry?
Well, we're just saying that it sounds like you're speaking from experience, Richard.
Well, yeah, I am. Because what happens is I've trained people for close to 30 years now, and it's funny. I get a client that would be a female, and I would work with her for like a year, and she'd be getting in really awesome shape, and then she would convince her husband to train with me, and he would be dodging me for so long, and then finally get him talked into it. I'd start training him, and she'd quit, and then I train him for a while, and when he quits, she comes back, and it's funny how. Like that. It's like I always know it's like the end, the kiss goodbye when the husband shows up or the wife shows up, because the other one says, okay, I'm off to do something else now.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever it's worth. I train with my wife, as you know, Erica. I train with my wife 6 days a week. And, and even better than that, I train her while she's part of a group, and the Lord knows how I've managed to get away with that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it's good, because we get a chance to get away from the house, and ultimately get a chance, in some occasions, to spend a little time, together. But I just was curious, while you were home, if you had a chance, and I assume that because the kids are so young, it's probably hard for her to not be wrapped up in that all day long.
Yeah. I for the longest now they're too big. I'm transitioning. It's like that in between time. I'm hoping to get them both on bikes soon, so they can bike with me. But for the longest time, I pushed a double bob.
Yeah.
Stroller.
That's a good workout, right?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. It's difficult. I mean, it throws you off, but
yeah.
But yeah, it is. It was just fun. It was so much fun because they loved it, and within the first mile, they were always asleep, both of them. So
right, that's almost a sure guarantee, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know.
I love it.
The kids are cranky. They'll take them for a jog like that and put them right to sleep.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I did that for a long time. Used to do that in New York with Paisley when she was just a baby.
Oh, what a beautiful name. Oh.
Yeah, Paisley and Clover.
So
But, yeah, I mean, I lived in New York for, 17 years. I still have an apartment there, and that's, I still love running in New York.
Really?
Yeah,
You're not bothered
it's awesome.
by the, really? I mean, I get the whole, like, people, I don't know, you tell me why you like it, but I'm thinking, God, you got to stop and start and stop. You don't find it disruptive?
No, you don't. No, you
it?
don't. You just have to get in that zone. I used to run I used to live on Park Avenue in 34th, and I used to run the Central Park every day. And I'd run in the middle of traffic. I'd be running up Madison Avenue, and you just get in that zone where you're hyper aware of everything that's around you, and it's like skiing, I think, where you're just so you're sort of zoned out, but you're incredibly tuned in to everything that's around you. Like, what's happening behind you, and I've had all sorts of crazy stories running in New York, but jumping over calves and crazy stuff, because you get in that sort of that omnipotent mode where you're just so you're like superhero type
right
thing, and you're spinning around people and you're cutting across streets and you're like, but you don't really have to stop, and you can. I don't know. It's not bad. Plus, now that with the East Side, where my apartment is now, I own a place in the Lower East Side, so I just go to the East River, and I can go uptown, and then cut across to the park, or I can run down or on the bottom of the island and up the West Side, which is beautiful. I mean, I don't know if you guys have done those runs, but the perimeter of the island of Manhattan is fantastic, and it's. I used to do my long run days would be going all the way up go down around the bottom of the island and all the way up to Washington Heights to the GW Bridge, 187th. Which is just, I mean, it gets a little sketchy for a while, but it's a beautiful run.
Huh. Yeah, I'm not familiar. I can't say so.
But you're a trail person, so.
I know, right. Yeah, very, very, very different. But I can appreciate, and you painted a very good picture. I get it, and I get that sort of like you're feeding off the energy of the city, so I get that.
But there's also a calm in that. There's a sense of tranquility in that energy, because you're connected. You're centered, and you're in your zone, and I don't know. I think it's beautiful. I love running in New York. I love, like I said, a lot of my favorite runs are not just the wilderness runs, but the city runs. London, Paris. Those are, because they're such beautiful environments, and you are surrounded with people, and I don't know. I think it's great. I love doing that.
I like the PCH.
Yeah, I like doing that too.
Just having the ocean on your side there, and nothing really in your way to have to worry about a light or cross traffic. It's kind of cool.
This is true.
Yeah. I mean, I like doing the from the top of Topanga and running along the vistas all the way to the sea, to the ocean, and then back. That's a good 12-miler.
Yeah.
Richard, we got like 5 minutes left before our show comes out. Is there anything that you wanna plug? Anything you want to talk about that aside from the running? Which incidentally has been a tremendous conversation in respect to your running. I could see how passionate you are about it.
It's definitely a great passion, and like I said, I'm just so lucky to be able to run in different places every day. it's definitely a great way to see the world. I'm really excited. We're going to Guns will be at GNR. Will be playing at the Hard Rock, as you said, through from Halloween night to the 24th of November, and then we're also doing the Neil Young's Bridge School benefit, and then after Vegas we go to India, which will be my first time in India. So I'm really excited to
bring your sneakers.
That. Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. That's going to be very interesting.
And is that another residency or just a couple one-offs or what?
No. I think we're playing 3 shows in India.
Nice.
Where will you be playing in India?
I don't know. Where are we playing? Delhi. We're playing. Let me see. I'm sure that there's an itinerary around here somewhere. We're playing. Yeah, here we go. Bangalore on December 7th, Mumbai on the 9th, Delhi on the 12th, then Taiwan, Manila, Jakarta.
Wow.
I've got a boxer in Jakarta that I work with. He's a featherweight champion of the world. A guy named Chris John. Amazing little fella. 126 pounds of just mean.
Wow.
I'd love to go to Jakarta one day. I think that's going to be a very good trip for you.
Yeah, I've been there before. Yeah, tough running.
Yeah?
Just, whenever the air quality's bad, you really feel it. But
sure. Absolutely.
And I remember that being a problem there.
I want to thank you for coming on with us. And remember, that was no joke. I'm extending this offer to you.
I'm going to take you up on that.
Get your email address, and I'll give you my contact information. If you ever get in the area, just give me a shout, and let's bring you in and get you sorted out. I think you'll find it fascinating based on what I've learned about you so far.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I'm definitely going to take you up on that.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you,
and hopefully we'll get a chance to connect with you later on.
Yeah, thank you.
Man.
Thank you. Be safe out there.
Okay, we'll do.
Thanks, guys. So listen, folks, it's time to shut it down. That was a great interview. I really enjoyed hearing from him, and you guys, as always, Kyle is manning the switchboard. Unfortunately, didn't have much to do today, but Kyle, I want you to remember, I do appreciate what you're doing, buddy.
Thank you, man.
We all do. You're the wizard. You're the man behind the curtain.
Wait. Here's one for.
There's one for Kyle.
I've been waiting for that. All right.
All right. I'm shutting it down, guys. Everybody say goodbye.
All right. Bye. Thanks again, Richard Fortus. Awesome.
Yep, thank you.
Blog Talk Radio, where millions of hosts and listeners gather.
That these guys get up there and they entertain us for. You got to have that stamina. It's got to come from somewhere, right?
Well, that's very true. And I have worked with. I have to say that I have worked with rock stars in the past. I actually did some work with Alicia Moore, who is more famously referred to as Pink, and did a go-to on her some years back when we had her on a fitness regimen. And these people, they have a tough lifestyle. I mean, I got to be honest with you. A little disclosure. I mean, I had a pretty rock and roll growing up.
It's in your blood.
You know, my remember the pictures that come up that said proof of hair? We actually had some length there. You know,
you were rocking the long hair, huh, Richard?
Yeah, just trying to get through the day. In back then, the partying all night long, and I just couldn't even imagine to be dedicated to that type of a lifestyle where you're in it. You don't really have much option but to try to survive it, and then have to be a genius on stage the following day.
Yeah.
And day after day after day after day. It's just
you're a performer. This is what you get paid to do, is to entertain. So if you're rough on your body.
Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Good day to everyone around the world, and good morning to co-hosts Erica Gratton and Kyle Ballard. Say good morning, folks.
Good morning.
Good morning, folks.
All right, excellent. So lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff. Today we've been scratching our heads and trying to figure out what a great topic would be for this show, and we were very fortunate to get a great interview lined up with Richard Fortus, new guitarist for Guns N' Roses, and fascinating fella. He's got a tremendous career behind him and a tremendous career ahead of him. And the reason we bring Richard on is because he too is a runner, and we thought it would be a fascinating interview to have someone that has basically lived his life on the road as a rock and roll star, and how he maintains his fitness. And as I understand it, yet to be discovered, but I believe that Richard is an avid runner. And it was interesting a moment ago, before we got on the air, Erica brought to my attention that my name being Richard and interviewing a Richard could be a little confusing, so please, people.
And they've got long days and keep odd hours to begin with, just because of the lifestyle, being in a different city every day, although I think Richard's going to let us in on his next gig, having a residency somewhere where you're there for multiple nights in one city, but typically you're in and out. You roll in one day, you set up camp, you put on a show, and you roll up and you're off to the next city. I mean, it's a tough lifestyle.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. And I've tried to speculate. You alluded to the residency tour coming up. They're, let's just go ahead and share it. They're planning to hole up at the Hard Rock and basically take over the joint in Las Vegas, and they're going to be there for basically a month. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have 12 performances slated over the course of that month. And I got to tell you, if I don't get out of Las Vegas after 3 days, I'm going to need therapy. It's just,
right. Well, which is probably a good reason why he runs. keep himself centered. It's
and it's funny because I actually worked in Las Vegas doing testing as a contractor for the Las Vegas athletic clubs, and we would get up early and show up for our gigs after a rough night at the casinos. And it's an odd lifestyle. Bear with us. I think that I don't know how we're going to handle it. Eric, if you come up with a really good idea between now and when we get him on the phone.
Right.
Please,
maybe Richard has a stage name we can go by.
Yeah. Well, we'll put it to him, and we'll see what he thinks. He may want to know him as Mr. Fortus. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But looking back on his career, and I've done a tremendous amount of research on Mr. Fortus over the past week, and he's been around. I mean, this guy has played guitar with everybody. He's toured with Rihanna. He's toured with Julio Iglesias. He's been a staple in what was the Psychedelic Furs. He was with a band that evolved from that he founded with Richard Butler, who was at Psychedelic Furs, and they did a group called Love Spit Love. And now he's landed with Guns N' Roses. And here's a guy that's been classically trained. He played the violin, he played the cello, and he could do just about anything with strings.
Sure sounds like it.
I don't know if you guys were aware of all of that.
No, see, and I didn't even know that he was an avid runner, but, we'll ask him all these questions, but, how long are these shows?
Style, the people that live in Las Vegas. It just, everybody's up all night and sleep all day kind of thing. And
exactly.
And then I guess pretty much that is the case with the visitors anyway. I assume there's other people that have a lifestyle where they work during the day and they really don't visit the casinos. But
you think people do 9 to 5 in Vegas? You think?
I don't know. I guess if you go to a restaurant, that's kind of how it works, right?
Well, they're usually open 24/7.
Again, the whole concept here is rock star runner, and hopefully we're going to get a couple more of these cats to come on and speak with us, because it's interesting. You got people that get up in the morning after a really healthy lifestyle to begin with, and they're habitual about the way they roll out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. They hit the trails or road and put in their run before they start their work day. And, it's a very traditional process for us. And I just thought it was such an interesting view to have someone that is basically a globetrotter all over the world. I mean, just the jet lag alone between some of these concert dates has to be just brutal. It just has to be brutal. And I'd imagine as we season, these guys aren't kids anymore. As we season, you settle into your skin, so to speak, and you start to find